Hello everyone and welcome to Fletcher Farms Amarillo. I'm Julie Fletcher. Some weeks on a farm are amazing and other weeks on a farm are absolutely devastating, and this past week happened to be an absolutely devastating week for us. If you follow us on our Instagram page or our Facebook page, you'll know that last Saturday Paisley passed away. We went out to go feed everybody about 9 o'clock that morning and found her. She had already passed sometime in the middle of the night. From what we could see from our security cameras, she laid down in the run about 7 a.m. And went to sleep. She didn't thrash or flail, wasn't rolling around. She simply laid down and passed away in her sleep. And we couldn't ask for anything better for our horses to pass peacefully, and Paisley definitely passed peacefully. We were extremely devastated by this because we had Dr. Wagner out just a few weeks ago to do blood work and give everyone health checkups and just make sure everyone was doing well. And Paisley was one of those horses that we had her check because Paisley was 26 years old and was losing a little bit of weight. Was still eating fine and drinking and grazing, and everything seemed fine with her, but she was losing weight. And we did blood work and nothing showed up. Nothing was wrong with her. We had her checked for Cushing's. We had her checked, just her regular blood work checked, and nothing showed up. So we were extremely surprised when we found her out there on Saturday morning. And obviously we were also completely devastated by losing one of our herd. It breaks our heart when we lose one of these horses because they mean so much to us. These horses have been through strenuous lives working on Amish farms, and I know working on Amish farms. Are you trying to make me laugh? Because you're doing a good job. Yeah, I love you, bud. But these horses have worked on Amish farms. However, Paisley's case was a little bit different. She worked on an Amish farm and then was rescued by another family. That family fell on hard times and needed to find a new home for her. So we adopted her back in January. And so we gave her the best life that we possibly could, with all the medical care and food that she could ever want or need. And we're really glad that she passed away peacefully in her sleep and was not in pain. But we are devastated by losing her, and we are completely heartbroken. So that was Saturday. Yes, hi. This is Noah. I know. My good boy. I know. And then on Tuesday, we had another horrible day on Tuesday. I fed everybody breakfast and everyone was fine, and I went outside about 12 o'clock like I always do to check on everyone to make sure everyone was drinking water and eating their hay and behaving, and there was no issues. And went into town and did some errands and came back that afternoon and fed everybody dinner. Everyone was fine except Finn. Finn was acting a little bit different. He's usually first into the run area and wants to eat right away. And he was reluctant to even go into his run to eat. At this point, I was starting to think that something was wrong. But I put his food down and he started eating it and ate a little bit. Finished feeding everybody else and went to go let him out of his run, and he hadn't touched his dinner. So at this point, I knew something was wrong. I thought maybe he was just overheated because it was hot outside. So I got a halter on him and got him into the barn so he could stay in the shade for a little while. Well, I went back out to go get his food bucket because I was going to leave him in for the evening, and went to get his food, and by the time I got back, he was covered in dirt, so he had started rolling around. Anybody that has horses knows that not eating, rolling around, laying down, those are classic signs of colic. So of course at this point, I started panicking. And I called Dr. Wagner right away, and of course she wasn't on call. Dr. Barclay was, so called Dr. Barclay and said that we were going to be bringing in Finn because we thought that he was colicking. By the time I went to go get his halter and Corey got the trailer hooked up, he had laid down again. So we got him up and got him rushed down to MVP. Dr. Barclay, who's one of the other vets there, did an exam on him, did blood work. His blood work was okay. There was no indication of any problems on his blood work, so his liver and his kidneys and everything were functioning properly still. He did a regular exam and an ultrasound to look at his stomach, and everything looked normal. However, when he went to give him a rectal exam, he found that he did have an impaction, and that's what was causing him to be rolling around and not eating. His intestines were impacted, and he called it an ileum impaction, and this wasn't something that was a super common impaction. Colic is a very serious situation, and in this case I didn't take much video when we were at the vet's office because I was a little bit panicked on what was happening with Finn. But this was just one little short video that I took of him when Dr. Barclay was doing an ultrasound.
Looks pretty normal. Good.
So Finn was going to be staying at the hospital for a couple nights. They did do an ultrasound and got him started on an IV and gave him medicine for pain and then also to treat colic. So we were hoping that over the next couple days he was going to be able to pass this impaction and we wouldn't have to do colic surgery because that's a very extensive surgery and also very expensive. Anybody that doesn't have horses, a colic surgery can run anywhere from $8,000 to $10,000. So it's a very expensive and extensive type of surgery. So we were really hoping that Finn would pass the impaction and we wouldn't have any more issues with him. So I stayed with him for a good portion of the afternoon on Wednesday. When I got there Wednesday afternoon, Finn looked absolutely defeated and exhausted. I felt so bad for him and hated to see him in this condition. He was still sedated here because they had just put a tube in his nose into his stomach and gave him some additional fluids. They wanted to make sure that the fluids were passing from his stomach into his intestines. Since they had given him fluids directly into his stomach, Dr. Wagner did another ultrasound to see if those fluids had moved through his stomach. They did move through his stomach and they were going into his intestines, but they were starting to pool in his intestines, so this was not a good sign. Also, his lactic acid levels were elevated, meaning that something in his body was not functioning properly, causing the lactic acid to build up. This was definitely not good news, so I spent the rest of the afternoon with Finn, just loving on him and telling him how much he was loved and how much we wanted him to get better and come home to the farm. And Dr. Wagner said she was going to come back that night and check on him about 9 o'clock and let me know how he was doing. When she called at 9 o'clock, she said that he wasn't painful and he was still standing up, but still hadn't passed anything. So we were looking at possibly doing surgery in the morning. So she was going to let me know. I got a text from her that morning at 6:30 saying that Finn had not passed the impaction and that he was going to need surgery. He was going to need colic surgery. So, of course, we said we were going to do the surgery, and I rushed down to the clinic because I was going to be there for the surgery and stay with him the whole time. So they got him prepped for surgery and had him on the table, and Dr. Morrow, who's the owner of MVP, came out and talked to me and let me know what they were going to be doing. Basically, in a colic surgery, they have to take out their intestines and find where the impaction is and try to work that through their intestinal tract to get that moved through. However, sometimes there's a 1% chance that they'll find something that's bad inside them and they won't be able to clear the colic. So we were hoping for the best, and they started the surgery, and I went in there and watched him, and I went in and watched the surgery, and they took out all his intestines and started looking for the blockage. And they came across a portion of his intestines that had a giant mass that was completely black, and that portion of his intestines that was black was completely blocked and wasn't functioning anymore. All the tissue that was black was already dying, and that portion of his intestines wasn't working, so there was absolutely nothing that they could do to save Finn at this point, so we had to put Finn down. If you've never seen an operating room for a horse surgery, this is what it looked like. I was so grateful that Dr. Morrow and Dr. Wagner let me stay for the surgery and be there for Finn no matter what the outcome was. The next picture that I'm going to show here is going to be what the mass looked like inside Finn's intestines, so if you don't want to see that, please skip ahead. This was the mass that they found in Finn's small intestines. When they started the surgery and were looking for the cause of the problem, Dr. Wagner said that a horse's intestines are very delicate and can't be cut. So after seeing this, we knew that his surgery was beyond repair and there was nothing that we could do for Finn to save him. Corey and I were absolutely devastated, and it was definitely the news that it was definitely something that we did not think that we were going to have to do, especially with Finn. Everything happened so fast I couldn't even get a Facebook post out about what was going on. I'm pretty sure I was still in shock and didn't want to put out a post, and I still don't even want to put out this video because I still can't believe that Finn's gone. Dr. Morrow and Dr. Wagner said that he had probably at some point from his previous owner ingested something that he probably shouldn't have, because this situation was probably going on for quite some time, way before we ever got him. He probably ingested something that he shouldn't have, and over time his intestine, where that impaction was just dying off slowly. And because of the diet that we were feeding him, the Alpha Pro MASH helped keep him alive, because it was passing through his system still, because it wasn't a solid form. So we did everything that we possibly could for Finn, and we are completely devastated with the outcome after his surgery and his 2-day stay at the hospital. We did not think it was going to happen like that. Finn was an amazing horse. We rescued him back in February from Bowie, Texas Livestock. He was dumped off at the livestock yard because he was out in someone's pasture for 2 years and they didn't want to take care of him anymore. So we rescued him and gave him the best 7 months of his life that we could give him, filled with belly scratches, and he learned to trust humans again. And that was definitely something that he did not do when he first got here. And so if you didn't see Finn's original video, I'll put a link in the description below. But the rest of this video will be a tribute to Finn and Paisley. Okay, I thought Freya was bad, but I am going to say Paisley takes the cake because that's only half of Paisley. She's not fat, she's floofy. What you doing? Did you have fun? What do you think? Is it a good pasture? boyfriend? You trying to get Finn to be your boyfriend? Good morning, Finn. Good morning.